What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Back with another live stream. We are back. I know we've had a bit of a crazy weekend. The last two watch-alongs, I haven't done them, but, you know, this academy thing, they decide to throw games all over the country, and you just got to travel here, there, and everywhere. Big up everyone who's been sending messages to Cruz. Appreciate that as well. He banged in a few goals, so it was all good, to be fair. And to be honest, that Southampton game, I got back and watched the end of it, and I was like, if ever there was a game I was going to miss, it's probably a good job that I missed that one, because I'm not happy, people. I'm not happy. We're going to break it down today. It's not quite Arsenal therapy. I can't lie. I was thinking, is this Arsenal therapy today? Then I saw Tottenham get dealt with by Newcastle, and I felt a little bit better, to be honest. So it calmed down. It went from therapy just to probably a consultation session today. Just a quick chat to get some things off your chest that we need to talk about. Big up to everyone in the comments. Appreciate you tuning in. We will be back on Thursday, of course, with the watch along PSV away. So make sure you're locked in for that, people. So many chances wasted. Listen, we're going to talk about it. We're going to go into detail. MD said Cruz man of the match on Sunday. I'm telling you, the way we was missing chances. Dynamite said the ref should receive his P45 tonight. Listen, for me, and we're going to talk about it in more detail, Dynamite. For me, the referee was poor. The referee was poor. And apparently he's a new Premier League ref. Well, he shouldn't be in the Premier League for too much longer if that's his level. But I'm a great believer in accountability at top-level football. And I think Arsenal need to look in the mirror before they start looking at that referee. Yeah, the referee should have given us a penalty, and we've got some pictures. We're going to look at it. But at the same time, how many chances did we miss? How come we were so dominant in the first half, yet second half, we took our foot off the gas? Were they tired? You know, whatever the issue is, they need to look at themselves first. And I've said time and time again, I believe that transfer window and what happened in those last 6 weeks is going to come back and bite us at some stage. And I feel like it's nibbling on us right now, people, because we're going to talk about it in more detail anyway. But like I said, people, I said the Arsenal bench at the moment is like that bench in your local park. The birds have pooed all over it, and it just don't look too good. The wood's rotting on it. There's nothing on that bench right now. There's nothing. And you saw that yesterday. And I agree, Ant. I think fatigue is setting in because, unfortunately, unlike previous years, usually we've gone through our Europa League group with basically playing the youth team players. For some reason this year, even against Bodo, even against, you know, PSV, who were poor the other day, half of our first team is playing this game. The other half is on the bench and coming on. So your Thomas Partey's and your Jesus, your Salibas, they're not getting the week off. And this is the problem at the moment. And I think we're now paying the price on the weekend in the Premier League. So I think a pattern is starting to emerge. And it's important that we quickly change it. South London said the ref had a massive stinker. Anthony said, well said, see, we got to stop with the ref blaming in our fan base. The ref had nothing to do with us missing chances. I always say the best teams in football, they blame referees the least because they do the job themselves. You only tend to blame a ref when you haven't done your job. Don't get me wrong, there's occasions where you've played well, you should have gotten a penalty, the ref didn't give it, and that is the ref's fault. And we should have got a penalty yesterday. But I'm more looking at Gabriel Jesus. I'm a massive fan of Gabriel Jesus, and you know I am. I've said he's one of the signings of the season. But I'm not going to hide away from the fact the guy couldn't finish his dinner yesterday. He was spoon-fed yesterday and, you know, spilling his dinner all over the place. Couldn't score. I'm looking at Fabio Vieira, who came off the bench, £35 million player. Listen, he came off the bench. It's not easy to come off the bench in a Prem game. But did he do anything? Did he look effective? Outside of a good 25-yard shot against Brentford, has Fabio Vieira done anything in a Premier League game so far? I don't think he did enough. I think Eddie Nketiah. Listen, I've said a lot of things about Eddie, and some people go, hail end, he's one of our own, protect him at all costs. Eddie Nketiah's not good enough. Simple as that. Eddie Nketiah is not good enough at this moment in time to play for Arsenal. He may be good enough in 6 months, he may be good enough in 2 years, he may be good enough in a year, whatever. Right now, Eddie Nketiah is not good enough. And I tell you something, I don't even think Eddie Nketiah is good enough playing up front. Arteta's playing him left wing. He's playing him left wing. He's not a winger. I'm not sure whether he's good enough to play up front for Arsenal. Never mind putting him left wing. But we let Pepe go in the summer. Cool. I can get my head around that. Pepe hasn't been good enough. But where was the replacement? Is Marquinhos the replacement? No. You don't bring him on in the Prem. You clearly don't trust him. Is Reece Nelson good enough? No. He's been at the club for a long time. Hasn't proved himself. Emile Smith-Rowe's injured. He's injury prone. I did not understand the substitutions yesterday. I didn't understand taking off Martinelli. I didn't understand taking off Martin Odegaard. And I've been critical of Odegaard many times. But he was the only player yesterday that was going to create a chance. And he took him off. And I think he got it wrong yesterday, Arteta. So we're going to talk about it in more detail. Listen, as I said, the weekend balanced itself out a little bit due to the fact Chelsea and Man United drew. Tottenham got beat. Liverpool got beat. Man City were the only Big Six club that won. And a draw doesn't look overly bad to us now. But ultimately, if we want to achieve great things, we have to win games like that. Come, let's get him on. Cruz, quick. Half term. Been banging goals in this weekend?
Yes, sir.
Another 3 goals yesterday.
Yep.
You only saw a bit of the game yesterday, Arsenal game. What did you make of it? Why did we draw to Southampton?
It was... We were falling asleep while we were defending. It was terrible.
A bad goal to concede and giving the ball away easily, weren't we?
Yeah.
What do you think we need in January? Because I think the squad's looking a bit light right now.
I think we need a midfielder that just wins the ball back and plays simple, because Partey's been losing the ball quite a bit.
Yeah.
And
You see Tielemans' goal yesterday?
yeah, that was unreal.
It's a good goal. What else do you think we need?
I think we might need a striker.
Yeah. Are you ready? You fit? You want to go in next Saturday? Yeah, striker.
And another winger.
Need a
just
winger.
to challenge, because Saka's playing every week and he needs a break sometimes.
Need someone in there.
Yeah.
We got Cruz. Appreciate that. Good insight. Right. Let me get into it. You're doing well. You can take over one day when I have a day off. You can just run it for me, you know. But now, listen, people. We're gonna get into the game. Break it down a little bit. I watched the game back. I wish I didn't, to be honest. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched most of it. I watched the second half when I got back, and then I watched most of the first half later on. So we're going to go through this game. A said, don't forget, we got 65 million saved for an attacker. Listen, money in the bank doesn't mean nothing to a fan. It means nothing to me that if we got 65 million in the bank. Send that to Leicester and go and get Tielemans, or go and get, I don't know, a winger, whatever. Get us what we need. I don't care about having money. Man United don't care about money. Man City don't care about money. Blow it on the players that you need, you know. Osimhen, I mean, he would cost a fortune. Yeah, he can take over from me, man. Next watch along, I'll just give it to him to do it. Jake said, Xhaka player of the season. Listen, Granit is doing what I want Arsenal players to do, and that's answer critics in the right way. And he's doing that now, and fair play to him. What a fantastic goal that was yesterday from him. That was even better than the PSV one. Harry Potter, thank you for the super chat. He said, happy Diwali to the whole community. Big up to anyone who's celebrating. Hope you have a peaceful day, and appreciate that, Harry. Let's see. Cruz to replace Eddie. Why not, man? Why not? Jake said, Curtis, Newcastle are coming like a train and 4th in the league. Listen, we need to handle our own business. But Newcastle, listen, every Arsenal fan was half Geordie yesterday watching that game. They did their job. Brilliant performance. Almiron. Do you know what's funny? Somebody asked me on a stream last week, would you take Almiron at Arsenal? I was like, nah, he's a bit of a hype merchant. Dribbles well, no end product. I looked at him yesterday. I thought, you know what? I probably would take him if he could play like that on a regular basis. But yeah, man, big up Newcastle. Callum Wilson with the goal as well. South London has become a member. Big up to you. Member stream will be this Friday. Right, we're going to get it. Will it be Friday? Yeah, Friday. We're going to do it this Friday, people. Member stream on Friday. If you're a member, get yourself in. We're going to have a lot to talk about. And obviously, it will be the day after the PSV game as well. So Friday, member stream. 4 o'clock we're going to do it. 4 o'clock UK time. Yeah, happy Diwali. Anyone celebrating? CHB, Almiron better than Grealish. Remember when Grealish dissed him? Don Arsenal, was it you who asked me? I was like, I don't want Almiron. He's a hype merchant. I watched him yesterday. I'm like, maybe I got a little bit carried away with that Almiron assessment. He looked like an absolute beast yesterday. South London, you've updated your card details. Big up, bro. How do you become a member, Ant? Just click the join button next to the subscribe button. There should be 3 options for you there if you want to join in. Anyway, let's get into this game. Now, I didn't understand the performance. I came away from the game thinking, can somebody explain that game to me? Like, why did that game go like that? It baffled me. You know, sometimes you watch games, you go, well, I get it, this, that, the other. I genuinely didn't understand this performance from Arsenal. It left me confused. It left me with more questions than answers. 1-1. Granit Xhaka scores 11 minutes. It was basically the even better version of the goal that he scored the other week. In midweek, against PSV. Fantastic finish. And I agree with somebody who said that earlier. He's up there as our player of the season, which, you know, I would have never thought I'd be sitting here going, Granit Xhaka, one of our players of the season. He's been fantastic this season. So fair play to him. But I think Arsenal went in at half-time. We'd missed loads of chances. And I think they sat there and thought, we'll win this game. We'll win this. We're better than them. We'll win. And you cannot ever do that in the Premier League. You've got to get the game won. If you sit on your hands and think, we'll win this, before you know it, they've equalised and you've left there with a point. They were physical. They got in our face. Shea Adams and them, man. I told people that he'd make life difficult for us. And they got the equaliser. And we didn't have an answer for it. And it was strange. Because that first half, we dominated. It looked like we could be 2 or 3-0 up at half-time. But we didn't finish the game off. And the warning signs have been coming for Arsenal. Buenos Aires, Gun, I hope you're well. Buenos Dias, Curtis, brother in the community. Our finishing was non-existent. Gabriel Jesus had 2 great chances to put the game away. Eddie Murphy comes on and does nothing. We need quality and depth. Big up to Don Arsenal TV for becoming a member. Appreciate that, bro. See you in the member stream Friday at 4 o'clock. Cosmos, can't say that at 1-0, 100%. 1-0 in the Premier League, you're never safe. Even with a minute to go, somebody can score. Egg Fried Roy said, if you was doing a watch-along, we would have won. Hey, listen, I mean, when I was watching that bit of the second half, I was thinking, if I was doing a watch-along now, I'd be having a meltdown. I was actually shouting the house down in the second half. I could not believe the way we were playing. And some of the passing towards the end of the game, how easily we gave the ball away, was horrendous. Craig said, who is the new number 34? We've been waiting for 7 years. He's finally arrived. Better late than never, eh? Better late than never. The number 14 is being disgraced by Eddie. I've tried to be more balanced this season. So when I'm criticising players or performances, PG said it's all my fault. I try and be way easier. But you know, at certain times, people, I'm sorry, like, I believe that the reason I would like to think a lot of you like this channel is because I'm going to be honest with my opinions. I'm not going to cap. And I'm sorry, man, but some of the things I'm seeing at the moment, I don't like. The warning signs have been coming and we have to learn from it. Just to put things into perspective, people. Since we beat Liverpool 3-2 on the 9th of October, 1-0 with Bodo Glimt, 1-0 with Leeds United, 1-0 PSV, 1-1 Southampton. This performance was coming. This performance was coming. We have that song, 1-0 to the Arsenal. You can't always do that. You can't always win a game 1-0. What happens if you concede it? Can you go and get the second? Can you go and get the third? Can you finish the game off? And that was the problem yesterday. With this game has been coming. The warning signs were there. And I'm not surprised that it happened yesterday. We don't have a great record at Southampton. It's one of our bogey teams. Christopher, thank you for becoming a member. Really appreciate it, bro. Appreciate the support. Big up everyone in the comments. 1,200 of you already locked in and 35 of you on Twitch. Big up each and every one of you. C-Unit business. A said, do you believe in refs having agenda against us? Absolutely not. I don't believe it for 1 second. Do we get hard done by at times by refs? Yeah. But you feel it more when it's your own team. I'm sure other clubs think that they're hard done by as well. When we were the Invincibles, people probably said, oh, the referees won't give you anything at Highbury. Good teams don't feel it. You know, it happens. So I don't believe the referees have got an agenda against us. Jake said, when you were shouting at the TV, did the neighbours hear you? I'm pretty sure they would have, mate, because I was shouting. I'm telling you. Don said, why am I scared of Forest? Oh, mate, we better not drop points against them. Omar Big C from Kingston. I don't see anywhere I can become a member. If you're watching on an iPhone or an iPad, sometimes it doesn't let you join. You need to do it on a laptop, or you need to, you know, sometimes you can click full version instead of the mobile version. It will let you do it there. I don't know why, but YouTube doing me dirty there, people. Anyway, player ratings. I don't feel I'm in a good enough position to mark each player. So I'm going to talk briefly about what I saw. I'm going to lean on the community. You can give me some ratings throughout the game. I'm more going to just pick out the players where I saw enough of them. But player ratings with a twist today. So I'm really looking at you guys to give me the player ratings, because I didn't really see the game fully, the full 90 minutes. Couple things I want to say. And I'm going kind of back to front here, but Gabriel Jesus, for me, right, I've bigged this guy up so much this season. I've said he's revolutionised our attack. I've said that this guy's one of the signings of the season. But I'm going to say one thing. Strikers Union, forget all that. I tell Cruz this all the time. He's a young striker. Unless you're a false nine, like a Firmino or someone like that, who's had the luxury of having two wingers that score 20 goals in Mane and Salah, so the pressure isn't actually on Firmino to bag. He can get 10 goals and have a great season. We don't have that at the moment with our wingers. Gabriel Jesus has to start scoring more goals, right? Ultimately, for all this running, for all this link-up play, for all the little great dribbles that he does past people, we paid £45 million for Gabriel Jesus to hit the back of the net. He earns £200,000 a week. I can't have you just being a more mobile Lacazette. That ain't what we brought you here for. I don't want you to look like a young Lacazette where you're doing bare defending. You know, you're winning the ball back. You're winning flick-ons. There was times at the end of the game yesterday, he was in the left-back position, winning the ball back. Now, I'm sure the team love that. I'm sure Arteta loves that. But he has to play through the middle, and he has to start scoring, unfortunately. Now, I saw a stat today, people. Gabriel Jesus has not scored in the last 5 games for Arsenal. In all competition, Europa League and Premier League. Bear in mind, he hasn't played 90 in all of the Europa League games. So it's not a complete meltdown. But 5 games without a goal, Gabriel Jesus. That's, you know, he's got to be hitting the back of the net. He starts every game. He plays a lot of the game. Usually he plays 90 or plays 70, 80 minutes. He's not somebody who gets dragged off early. You know, people calling him Gabriel Twerkazette, Gabriel Jesus-azette. Listen, I'm not slandering him. I'm not slandering him, right? But he's got to start hitting the back of the net. Now, somebody just said there in the comments, forgive me, let me say that. Somebody said they think he's playing with an injury. Does anybody think that? Do we think he's playing with an injury? I mean, last week against Leeds clearly wasn't fit, 100%. But this week, was he unfit? He had chances. The through ball from Odegaard, he didn't appear to have the pace to get away from that defender. The great little flick over the defender's head from Odegaard as well. It's got to hit the net there. You've got to make the goalkeeper do better than that. So I'm having a little bit of a concern about it. I love him as a player. I think he's a fantastic player. But ultimately, if he finishes this season with 12, 14 league goals, people are going to say, that's Lacazette numbers. Like, not Lacazette last season, but prime Lacazette at Arsenal. So he has to hit the back of the net. I saw yesterday, Mitrovic, 10th goal of the season at Fulham. Alexander Mitrovic, 10th goal. And I'm like, Gabriel Jesus got 5 goals. Hasn't scored in his last 5 games, plays for Arsenal, plays most of the game. We got to figure out a way to get more goals out of him. And I think a lot of it is down to him because I do think he's getting the chances. Even against PSV in the week, lots of work, but he's not finishing his dinner. Got to start scoring. Doesn't matter how much I like him, you know. If he ain't hitting the back of the net, it's not good enough. Big up my brother Broads. It's all part of the bigger plan, bro. Enter Eddie, Mikel and Ketty. African Soldier, thank you for the super chat. Big up the good father of C Unit. I've been missing your watch-alongs now for the last 2 games. As I said, apologies, people. You know how it goes. Dad duties have to come first. And to be honest, PSV 1-0 and 1-1 against Southampton. If I was ever going to miss a couple of games, they probably weren't the worst. Well, probably weren't the best of games to have not streamed. They were pretty bad. So, yeah, we're back. Don't worry, people. Watch along Thursday. Watch along on the weekend. Nottingham Forest. Lianco is a rat. Dark arts, people. Dark arts. I don't get angry at it, you know. I'm a bit different. I don't get angry at what Lianco did yesterday. A lot of Arsenal fans, you know, I saw people on AFTV, the ref, Lianco's a disgrace. I kind of don't get annoyed with what he did. I'm annoyed because it happened to us. I like the dark arts. I grew up in the non-league and the lower league system where, you know, I've seen players stamp on your foot, pinch your back. I've been on the end of it, you know, giving you a little punch and you're having a little scrap with them. It only makes me mad because we didn't give him back. I was thinking during the game, this Lianco's just grabbed Eddie Nketiah around the neck, right? He's given Gabriel Jesus a little dig in the back. Who's going to go and land one on him? Why didn't Granit Xhaka go and 2-foot him? Well, not 2-foot him and get sent off, but someone give him something back. Win the ball, but hurt him with the follow-through. Let him know. Go for a header and just give him... Where's the fire in your belly, bruv? Everyone's talking about, Lianco, he's so dirty. Did you see what he was doing? Hit the brother back. Soft. Soft. I don't want to see no soft team. Soft boys don't win nothing-ish. Tell him. Soft teams don't win anything. Go and land one on him. Say, what? You think this is the Arsenal from 5 years ago? Flimsy Arsenal that you could just run through. Bang! Leave one on him. Dark arts, take a yellow card if necessary, people. Lianco. People were crying about Lianco. Why? Lianco's done his job. He roughed us up. Should have given away a penalty. Could have got a red card. Guess what? He got off the pitch. I respect what he did. People can't be mad. That's football. His manager will be high-fiving him in the dressing room. Yeah, you did what was necessary, bro. You roughed him up. I seen Jesus. I think he punched him in the back or elbowed him in the back. And then the man grabbed Eddie by the throat. Nah, man. This is Premier League football. You don't win trophies. Soft teams don't win nothing. So, yeah, man, I'm not on all that. I'm telling you, I'm not really on all that. You know? So, yeah, you know, Broads knows. I've seen Broads punch a player on the pitch and not get a yellow card. Why do you think my highlights video is me, you know, chipping goalkeepers and doing all that? Broads has probably just punched someone. It was all mad, people. Big up Gunner Down Under. Hope you're well, bro. And we have to get something done as well. I'm going to shout you, man. He said if Granit Xhaka did what he did, he gets a straight red card. He did. But you know what? This Lianco hasn't got a reputation yet. So when he's doing that, he can get away with it. And you know referees go off reputation. Remember they used to say Zaha dives. Zaha was getting clattered. It was a penalty. Refs was going, get up, mate. You're a diver. So when you get a reputation for something, it sticks. So Granit Xhaka did what Lianco did. He'd probably be in a prison cell by now. But Lianco ain't got the reputation yet, so he can get away with it, and he roughed us up. And we're crying about it. Nah, man, bond that. Kick him back. Stamp on his foot from a corner, man. You know how it goes, people. You know how it goes. Big up Gunner Down Under, man. Yeah, Broads was moving like Ken and Ryu, people. You Ken. It was all mad, people. It was all mad. And then I just turned up while the, defender's injured and start, doing what was necessary, man. He deserves 50% of the goals. Sugar Puff FC, man. I'm telling you, man. Honey Monster settings, people. Land one. You think Keown would have done that? You think Keown and them would have seen this Lianco doing that to our striker? What's going on? Did you see what Ian Wright did to Peter Schmeichel all them years ago? 2-footing, man. Knee height. I know it's different now, VAR. You can't get away with it. You get a 5-match ban, but come on, man. Man's roughing you up. Rough him up. Hurt him if necessary, people. Babatunde said, spot on C. I asked the same question yesterday. Can Jesus succeed as a striker playing that role? A striker should strike first before anything. I had an agent back in the day. I only had him for a short period of time. I didn't want him, taking part of my wages. I didn't feel it was necessary. Not like I was playing in the Prem. And he used to say to me all the time, he said, strikers who don't score goals get nowhere. Strikers who don't score goals get nowhere. There is exceptions, as I said. Your Firminos, they don't have to score 20 because Mane and Salah were getting 25 each. Strikers who don't bag get nowhere. Now, again, I don't want anybody to think there's an agenda against Gabriel Jesus. I love him. He's been amazing for us. There is a reason. There has to be a reason why Pep Guardiola let Sergio Aguero leave and he didn't hand over the reins to Gabriel Jesus. Brazilian international, mid-20s, said he wanted to keep him. Why wasn't he handed the crown? It's your time, Gabby. Sergio's gone. They had no striker. Why was Gabriel Jesus not given the reins by Pep Guardiola? I don't believe that Pep felt he was going to get the numbers. I don't think he believed he was going to get the numbers. He was playing him right wing. They were playing false nine, Sterling, Foden. This is what Gabriel Jesus, this is the brick wall he has to overcome this season if he's going to be a good striker or if he's going to be a great striker. Good strikers get 10 to 15. Great strikers get 20 plus. And that's what he's got to overcome this year. I think he's got to narrow down all the hard work and try and put it into the goal scoring a little bit more. So keep up the rest of the stuff, but hit the back of the net a bit more, would be my advice to him. Gunnar Roller, thank you for the super chat, bro. Said, we need a quality striker to add to Gabriel Jesus to share the goals and relieve the pressure. Even Newcastle have better options. Wilson, Isaac and Chris Wood. You know what? That is a fantastic point. Newcastle genuinely have better striking options than us. And I agree, and this is why I spoke about Mitrovic. I would actually love Arsenal to go and sign somebody like Mitrovic, honestly. Some people might think, Mitrovic, that's not Arsenal level. Nah, I'm telling you, give me a Mitrovic. Give me an Ivan Toney. You think Lianco's doing that to Mitrovic? Nah, bro, he ain't doing that to him. I think sometimes, like you said, somebody can go up there and play next to Gabriel Jesus and bully these defenders. I think we need a plan B. I think we need a plan B up front. And I don't think Eddie is the plan B. I've got to be totally honest. I think we need different options. It's interesting. When Giroud played for Arsenal, I liked Giroud, but I spent a lot of time moaning about him because I felt we didn't get the best out of him. And he wasn't necessarily perfect for us. I would love to have Olivier Giroud coming off the bench right now. He's actually one of the best hold-up target men strikers, probably in world football, to be honest, even at the age of 34, 35. Arteta got rid of all the fighters. I mean, some of the lads fight, but some of them, if someone grabs my teammate round the neck, I'm telling you, it's kicking off. Something's going on. We're targeting Lianco like, yo, bro, next corner, stand on his foot. When you go up for the header, elbow in the back of his head. Something's going off. Aya said, Big C, your point would have made sense if champions like City got the same treatment from refs as we did. City always get calls in their favour. My point, in my opinion, Aya, ultimately we finished 5th, 8th and 8th in the last 2 seasons. So we've had a rough spell. So anything that's gone against us, it probably damages us more than Manchester City. If Manchester City get a penalty refused, they've probably created another 10 chances in the game, and Haaland scored about 5 of them. So that penalty that the referee didn't give in the 15th minute, that gets brushed under the carpet. Who cares they didn't give a penalty? Haaland's got another match ball, scored a hat-trick, they won 4-0. With Arsenal, because we're not as potent in attack as Man City, a refereeing decision gets highlighted and the spotlight gets put on it because we're going, oh my God, we drew 1-1 and the ref didn't give us a penalty, which I do agree with. But if Jesus scores his 1-on-1, if we finish our dinner, we don't even care that the referee was shocking because we've already won the game 2 or 3-0. So that's the difference. I think Man City probably do get it. But the odds aren't as high because they're going to win the game. They're going to score their chances anyway. So Don Arsenal said we are missing Zinchenko. I agree with that. Didn't really understand Tomiyasu playing at left back. yesterday, and it didn't work. It didn't work. I think that experiment needs to stop. It worked against Salah. Every now and then, maybe you can do it, but it's not the same. Luke, thank you for the super chat. Why is Arteta putting Eddie out wide? If you're going to bring him on at all, slap him down the middle, put Jesus out there. Arteta's still learning. I have no idea why Eddie Nketiah's playing left wing. I just don't get it. I don't get why he took Martinelli off yesterday. He looked lively. You're taking off one of our best informed players and putting a striker on the left. Maybe you get away with that in the Europa League against Bodo or Zurich. You know, it didn't work yesterday. He got it horribly wrong. I'll take Emmanuel Dennis over Eddie. I mean, I don't know how he's getting on at Forest, but get Troy Deeney in. Listen, not Deeney, but we need a player who can do that. Because Arsenal, at the end of the game, when we're chasing the game, you need somebody you can say, all right, we can go direct. If you've got to pick someone out and go long, go long. If you've got to put crosses in, get crosses in. We can't do that. When's the last time we whipped a cross in there, climbing header, roof of the net? I just think we need a plan B, and it worries me because I don't think we've got any intention of signing a striker. Rashen said, call the cops, Big C, and Nketiah is stealing 100k a week. Eddie, I respect the hustle, my bro. I respect the hustle. There's no prime minister in England right now. Electricity has trebled. Petrol's gone up. It's all mad people in this country right now. I respect anybody who can go out there and get £100,000 a week. I never got to that level. So as much as I criticise Eddie, I have to applaud you, bro, because I know it ain't easy to get to them levels. But let's not cap. Eddie Nketiah is absolutely hustling this football club, making 100 bags a week. 5 years. 5 years, bro. Jesus. 5 years, 100k. Oh my days. He's performed a miracle. You know, he's performed a miracle. 100 bags a week for 5 years, Eddie. Jesus. I don't know what to say, Eddie, but well done. You know, I respect the hustle. I really do. 100 bags for 5 years. Let me tell you something. Eddie ain't going nowhere. Eddie's going to be like Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. You know, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. You ain't getting him out of that contract because nobody in world football is paying him 100 racks a week. Marty said Jesus slumping before January could be a blessing if it inspires us to add pieces during the window. Good point, but it's just at what cost, Marty? It's at what cost? Are we going to have to drop points? I hope not. I hope not. Listen, Forest at the weekend, at home. I know they won against Liverpool, but they're bottom. Great opportunity for Gabby to go and get a goal, you know. So let's hope. I don't want to bang on about him too much. Aya said, City were awarded a pen after 3 minutes of play from the same foul we got with Jesus. And I hear you, but I'm just saying, you may be able to pick individual games, but I'm sure throughout the season, there's been times where Pep's been going crazy, but guess what? Haaland's going to score. They'll win the game. And the question is, would they have won that game if they didn't get the penalty? They probably still would have. You know, I do get your point, but if you do your job, I think you put less pressure on the referee to do his job. Gunnarola said, dare I say, I missed Guendouzi yesterday. I mean, Guendouzi, it's one of them, innit? It's one of them. It just didn't work. The attitude against Arteta, he's never going to keep players like that. Broad said, you got to respect Eddie. 100k a week for 2 goals v Chelsea and the number 14. 4.8 million a year. Inflation is real, people. Inflation is real. Let's go through the team. I've banged on about Gabriel Jesus long enough. Ramsdale, from what I saw, I thought was solid. The goal, I don't think he could do much about the goal. Yeah, I thought he was reasonable. Ben White, I thought, was playing well at right back. Linked up well again with Saka on that right-hand side. Brought him off and put Tomiyasu to right back. Didn't really understand that. I thought Ben White was actually playing well. And I thought Tomiyasu at left back yesterday was an interesting one. Maybe Tierney, because he played midweek. Can he not play midweek and then go again at the weekend? Maybe that's the problem with him. That's a little bit of a worry. I think Ben White's playing really well at the moment. Some people were blaming Gabriel for our goal yesterday. I don't necessarily think so, because ultimately that's a midfield runner. And if you're marking a striker as an attacker, and then the midfielder runs past the defender. I think ultimately the midfielder needs to go with the runner. So I don't necessarily blame the centre-backs. From what I saw, I didn't think Tomiyasu was great yesterday. Got to be totally honest. He played him left-back. I don't think he needed to. But Tierney maybe can't play 2 games a week. I thought Tierney looked more lively when he came off. Problem with Tierney, will get injured if overplayed. Saliba has been poor the last 3 games, says Don. These Zinchenko injuries are concerning. Again, how long's he out for with his calf injury? Midfield, Xhaka, brilliant goal again. I think that was even better than the PSV goal. Brilliant finish. I believe that's 4 goals for him this season. I think 4 goals was his previous best ever season. So he's matched it, and we're only in October. I would like to see Xhaka go and get 10 goals this season. And I think he can, because he stays fit and he seems to be available most weeks now. He's not getting a lot of bookings as well. Jashar said Ben White with a great assist for Xhaka, but he didn't spot the danger for the goal. So I need to look at that goal again. I felt it was maybe a midfield issue, but we'll look at it again. Can't the FA issue a 3-match ban on Lianco if actions are reviewed? Yeah, they can, but doesn't do anything for us, does it? We've already dropped the points. Fabian said, honestly, your shows are top-notch, Curtis. I appreciate that, people. I'd like to go into a bit more detail on Monday and, get into your comments and see what you think, what your general opinion is on the game. Ultimately, when you drop points, I always like to see where people think the blame lies at the moment. Do you think is this now down to fatigue? Is it due to the fact that too many players are playing in Europe on Thursday and they're not able to reproduce for 90 minutes on a Sunday? Therefore, you would have to point the finger towards the recruitment. Why did we not sign more players in the summer? Do you think players are just starting to underperform a little bit? Is there a little bit of arrogance? Are we turning up to these teams thinking Southampton will just roll them over? Or is it a culmination of all of them? Are we a little bit tired? Are we not able to rotate? You look at Martinelli at the moment, he has no competition because Smith Rowe is injured. You look at Saka, he has no competition because Marquinhos and Nelson are not going to push him. Gabriel Jesus hasn't scored in 5 games, but he's still going to start against Forest on the weekend because the manager knows Eddie is not ready to start ahead of him. Is the lack of competition a problem as well? As I said, it's not time to press the alarm bell. There's nothing major. We're top of the league. Results went for us this weekend, apart from Manchester City winning the game, which I always expected them to win. I've said time and time again, I'm concerned about the lack of squad depth, and I think we're starting to see that become a bit of a problem. Southern Guna said the next few months will show us the true ambition of the regime of Edu. And part a brother, Curtis, we are also going to have to cope with Arteta's inexperience in these type of situations at the top. Thank you, Southern Guna, with the super chat. I've said before, and I've said again, and I will say it. If the Cronkays don't go for it in January, they're finished as owners of this football club for me. They're done. I'm sorry. They're done for me. We've had Kroenke in, Kroenke out issues for a long time. I've actually given them a little bit of credit in the last couple of years because ultimately redemption is a real thing. We talk about redemption song, Bob Marley, redemption song. I was the most Granit Xhaka out fan that you will ever meet. Now I'm enjoying what the guy's doing and I'm happy for him. If the Cronkays don't back Arteta in January, for me, they need to sell the football club. Because if your manager, the manager you've backed for years and years and years, has got you in a title race, whether we're good enough to get there and win it or not is a totally different conversation. But the fact is, we're going to go to the World Cup in the title race. They're supposed to say to him, you're doing a fantastic job. We love what you're doing. Go and sign a midfielder and go and sign a winger and go for it. Let's see what happens. Even if you don't win the league and City win it by 7-8 points, you finish second or you finish third, which is a fantastic season. Maybe we're in the Europa League. And like you just said there, Southern Guna, how will Mikel Arteta deal with being top? Sometimes it's easier to be chasing someone than it is to be chased. And there is a certain pressure It's like being in a 100-meter race, you know. When you're winning, sometimes you're looking over your shoulder. Where when you're in second, you're just focused on catching that person in first. It brings a different kind of pressure and expectation. And that is something that we need to see whether Mikel Arteta can deal with that. Hopefully he's learnt from being around Pep how to learn from being top and dealing with it. Big up to everyone in the comments, by the way. Nearly 2,000 of you in the chat. Really appreciate it. 54 of you on Twitch. Make sure you lick that like button, subscribe to the channel, and all of that good stuff, people. Good to be back with the community after a few days off. And, watch-alongs, everything's back in full effect this week. Gunnar 8 David, 4 signings needed. Ideally, I would love to see a midfielder, a winger, a striker, and I would say in an ideal world, I'd get another centre-back. But I don't think we'll address these things, all of them, in January. Big C, what's Cruz's play style? Is he a hold-up forward or more of a straight dribbling smaller forward? I'm just wondering. He's more of a, I would say, he leads the line. He's like hold up, back to goal, and then turn it and run at you, you know. Because he plays up front by himself. When I was younger, everyone played 4-4-2. So I'd get, as I said earlier, like a Broads or someone like that, go and do the dirty work. And then but nowadays, everyone plays 4-3-3. So you got to play up front by yourself. We'll be lucky to sign 2. Big up Smokey with the super chat, by the way. And I agree, that guy. If we sign 2, I'll be shocked. I'll be absolutely shocked. Ish said your clients, Rashford and Aubameyang, dropped stinkers. I have dropped Aubameyang from Curtis Shaw Lawyer Company. I no longer represent him. He's a big fraud, and his hairline is not actually real. Anyway, we move on. Right back for me, said Salo. Let's continue to talk about the game. Odegaard, for me, looked to me like the player that was going to create the goal. And there have been a lot of games where I've sat here and said, you know what, maybe you take Odegaard off. I actually looked at that game and thought, don't take Odegaard off. Don't get him off. And the day I don't want him to come off, he drags him off. And then Fabio Vieira comes on. I got back yesterday and I had Sunday dinner, right? I had dinner yesterday. I was tempted to try and... My TV's interactive. I was tempted to try and feed some of that dinner to Fabio Vieira. I'm like, brother, you've been in this country 3-4 months now. Has no one took this brother to the yard shop? Has no one give Fabio Vieira some jerk chicken, rice and peas, some seasoning, some yam, some hard food? Cause brother, this ain't Portugal, my brother. This ain't Techie Porto where they're bot, pass. This is the Prem, fam. Armstrong and Shea Adams, these men who come out of non-league, they don't care about your nice little flair on the ball, you know, and the nice little brother, you got to be stronger. If you're not strong, you got to be a magician in the Premier League to survive. If you're not strong in the Prem on the ball, you've got to be a magician on the ball where they can't get to you. They can't even lean on you because you're so evasive on the ball. I'm telling you now, and I say this again. Fabio Vieira looks a good footballer. Technically, looks techie, looks like he's got a goal in him, blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting here right now going, did we need to spend £35 million on Fabio Vieira when we needed a centre midfielder more? Did we need to? Or we should have got both. If you were going to buy him, you buy what you need before you buy what you want. When your mum sends you to the shop and says, right, go and get some milk. We got no milk left. We need cereal. You don't come back with a football sticker album, the brand new Panini sticker album, but you didn't get the milk. Because the sticker album ain't going to get you, your Cocoa Pops. You buy the milk, if there's any change left over, you might have got yourself a 10p mix or something like that from the shop. We're going shop and buying things we don't need. Yo, where's the milk, Arteta? Where's the milk? You know what I mean? I'm trying to have some cereal here. You never got me no Tillermans. You never got Douglas Luiz. You never got the Pepe replacement. You've come back with a sticker album. I'm trying to have breakfast. Where's the milk? You know what I mean? Get what you need first. I just see Tielemans score one of the goals of the season. 25-yard volley, posting in top bins. He should be scoring that for us. It's all mad, people. It's all mad. This transfer window left us short, man. Edu, yeah, it's cool you're doing videos with the fans, AFTV, you know. I was there in Orlando, he's bigging man up and chatting to man. Yo, Edu could be manipulating, man, you know. Edu might have said, they might have said to Edu, listen, if you're around them, man, you know, have a chat with them, you know, be open, speak to them, and it will soften them up a little bit. Because now, we're a lot of us now, we're all like, oh, can we really diss Edu? Because in Orlando, he was cracking jokes with me and you know, shaking my hand. Yo, Edu, Edu, he ain't doing his job well, but yo, that joke in Orlando. Oh, I'm telling you, but don't fall for this, people. Edu knew Edu, man, I see you, Edu. I see you, brother. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it wouldn't surprise me if they said, Edu, yeah, man, you're out there with... People saying, let's be real, what has Edu done? Yeah, like, Edu, bro, you got Zinchenko in and then did nothing the rest of the window, bro. MD said, I commented that 20 minutes ago. Apologies, bro. I'm telling you, I'm starting to look at Edu sideways like, yeah, okay, cool. At the time, I might have been doing a little fake laugh at that joke. Yeah, that was funny. You know? But you were sweetening us up, bro. I'm telling you. Corporate settings, man. They know what they was doing. Yeah, these fan channels now, they're getting a bit powerful. Get a bit closer to them. What do they say? Keep your friends close, your enemies closer, man. Think about it, people. Edu now, because he's been cool with us. Yeah, man, yo, I'll come on there and do an interview. I like your channel and big up, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Then when he don't do his job for 6 weeks and has a barbecue in Portugal on holiday, none of us criticize him. Why? Because he's following people back on social media and we don't want to criticize him because we want to get in with the club. This is the politics of it, people. This is how it goes. This is corporate. You know how these corporate companies work. So Edu, yeah, man, I like the joke you cracked in Orlando, my bro, but do your job because I don't hold back on it. If the clip has to get let off, the clip gets let off on Curtis Shaw TV, people. That's why we call it C-Unit. We don't play games. You know, when 50 had a problem, the diss track came out, window shopper, piggy bank. If someone had to get this, I won't hold back. I'll release a diss track. We do whatever's necessary, people. Anthony said, what if the Cronkies give Arteta money in January? Who's to say it won't be Edu who fails to do his job again and fumble the signings? They've backed Arteta hard. January could be all down to Edu. And we never know the truth, do we? We never know the truth. That's the problem. When we didn't sign Vlahovic, whose fault is that? Did the club put enough money on the table to buy him? Or did Edu fumble the negotiations? Or were we just not an attractive enough proposition and he looked at us sideways like, I'm not signing for you lot, you know? Yeah, I'm not signing for you lot. You're not in the Champions League. So yeah, man, Smokey said it's all mad and average, Big C. We're going to regret. I hope not. Mickey Ross said, let off that clip, C-Unit business. We don't play, people. We ain't playing it. It's what this channel's for. Anything goes. We ain't playing. Don't mess about with us there, do ya? Say the joke's cool, but go for it. Anyway, I thought Martinelli shouldn't have come off. I've gone way off topic here. But Martinelli, for me, shouldn't have come off. Now, Saka, yellow card. He was lively from what I saw. But let's talk about the bench. Let's talk about the bench. And this is my concern. And if we don't achieve what we need to achieve this season, this is going to be a major, major part of it. I've seen cleaner benches in the park with bird poo all over them. Kieran Tierney, Eddie Nketiah, Rob Holding, Cedric, Fabio Vieira, Sambi Lokonga, Reece Nelson, Marquinhos, Matt Turner. Now, I thought to myself yesterday, looking at this, how many of that bench would start at another major club in the Premier League? Kieran Tierney is probably the only one. Maybe Fabio Vieira if he settles down and proves himself. Apart from that, forget about it. Forget it. Kieran Tierney, quality left back, would start at a lot of teams. Cool. He should, he would have started yesterday. Eddie Nketiah, you know my opinion of Eddie. I don't. Who's bottom of the league right now? Bottom of the league. Forest are bottom of the league. I mean, Eddie could play for Forest quite easily. I'm like not being disrespectful to Forest either. Like, they might not even want Eddie at Forest. Like, he went to the Championship and struggled. We give him 100 bags because he had a little flourish at the end of the season. I mean, I've spoken about him in detail. Rob Holding is average. Cedric, Southampton released him. We gave him a 3-year deal. I saw him in the petrol station. He's a cool guy, but let's be real. Fabio Vieira, techie baller, but is he useful enough? Did we need to spend 35 million on him? I think he's got some quality, but I don't think he's effective enough at the moment for 35 mil. Sambi, I mean, didn't even get off the bench yesterday. So that tells you how he played on Thursday. And you know my opinion of Sambi. I don't rate him. Reece Nelson, has he ever answered the question? Has he ever lived up to the hype? Never. Never got near it. Marquinhos, thought he was really good. We haven't seen him kick a ball hardly in the Prem, and Matt Turner's a keeper. If you're a goal down there, who comes off the bench? So, Arsenal. I know some people will say today, don't go over the top. It's not Arsenal therapy. And I know I've had a little bit of a moan today and but it's more a wake-up call. I think this Southampton game has to be the wake-up call for Arsenal Football Club that, listen, we are top. Things are going well, but it can very quickly go sideways if you're not aware of the situation you're in. We have to understand the overall picture. Yeah, we're top of the league. Yeah, it's not the end of the world drawing with Southampton. Tottenham bottled it. Great. Newcastle dealt with them. I had an Alan Shearer wig on yesterday. It was all Newcastle. I was a Geordie. Why, I man, it was all that going off. They won the game. Chelsea United drew. Good result for us. Liverpool lost to Forest. Beautiful. Sorry, any Liverpool fans. I'm talking as an Arsenal fan. So the point isn't that bad in the end. But make sure it's a wake-up call. Don't ignore the warnings. Why are we only beating teams 1-0? Why can't we score the second goal? Why are we starting to tire in the second half? Give this squad the boost. In January, World Cup's done. If you get Smith Rowe back fit, you get Zinchenko back, you go and sign a centre mid, you go and sign an attacking player, winger or striker, then I think we can cope in the second half of the season and we can really, push and make something happen. So, the bench, Eddie came on left wing. I don't know where that experiment is coming from, but he ain't no winger. He's only just a striker at this level, if I'm being honest. He certainly ain't a left winger. So he needs to stop doing that. I'd rather, if Gabriel Jesus is playing that bad, genuinely, I would rather play Martinelli through the middle. I would rather play Martinelli central if you're going to do that. But anyway, let's see. So, yeah, anyone who's listened to the whole show, I know I've had a bit of a moan today because even though I've balanced it by saying other teams drop points, ultimately, I always say, look at yourself. And if we'd have won that game, we would have been even happier with the weekend. We've allowed Manchester City to get closer to us now. Hardly said, Curtis, we should not panic. We do bounce back quite quickly, it seems. Yeah, listen, it's not the end of the world. We didn't lose. It's just the difference between a team that wins the league and a team that nearly won the league is when they smell blood, they finish you off, right? When Manchester City think there's a weakness in your game, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, game over, see you next weekend. Game's done. Anyone shows weakness against Man City, goal, game's done. Man United went there, sat back a little bit, were a little bit intimidated by them. Goal, game over, finished. Forget about it. You can't show them no weakness. Southampton looked weak. They looked vulnerable in the first half. We didn't punish them. The game should have been done by half-time. So they come in at half-time going, you know what? We haven't played well, but it's only 1-0. We can get back into this. Their manager gives them a bollocking at half-time. They come out second half, one decent move, and they get a point. And did we ever look like winning it after that? Not really. Not really. How did they not score v Liverpool? Yeah, I mean, listen, they had a goal disallowed, didn't they? But Liverpool were at it, and Liverpool are a very good football team. I'm talking about Southampton that we didn't punish. So anyway, like I said, I know I've banged on and I know I've spoken about the bench and stuff like that. it wasn't the best. It was 2 points dropped. It probably balanced itself out with the results that went the other way. Now, just to add balance, because I know there are some people in the comments that are saying referee, and I get it. I'm not going to ignore the fact that the referee was terrible, right? He's a new Premier League ref, and he was poor. As I said at the beginning, I like to look at the fact that we didn't take our chances before I blame the ref. I'm not one of these to just go, ref. The ref cost us the win. No, we missed chances. So we could have won the game regardless of the ref. But I'm not going to ignore the fact the referee was poor. As you can see here, Gabriel Jesus, my honest opinion on this, going to be totally honest. If you watch this clip back in terms of 5 to 10 seconds, Gabriel Jesus, I think, he tried to stay on his feet. And he almost let this defender get away with it. Because if this defender does this to him, unfortunately, referees don't seem to give a foul unless you roll around on the floor. If you try and stay on your feet, they won't give the foul. Jesus got grabbed like this, tried to stay on his feet, then kind of got to the ball, got fouled again, then he goes down, and then the ref's like, well, I think you could have stayed up there, so he doesn't give it. It's a horrible thing. People say in England, we don't want to encourage diving in football. But it's almost like when you feel contact, you need to, roll around on the floor, which is a shambles. That's a penalty. It's a penalty all day long. I mean, look at him. Both arms wrapped around him. It's ridiculous. And the fact they're saying, because he didn't go down, then he doesn't get the foul. It's a joke. So there's number one. Number two was this one. I believe this was Ben White in the corner. It's a bit of a blurry picture. Apologies. I think there is a little bit of contact. Good point as well, Ish. Red card on Gabriel Jesus, last defender. So that could have been a red as well. This is Ben White in the corner. Man said man's trying to catch a wine. Yo, relax, bro. I said, wine, girl, wine like a gypsy. Wine, girl, yo. That's Ben White in the corner. This is Exhibit B, people. I didn't really see this one, so I can't really say on that one. This is the Saka one. Now, the defender's foot is on the line. If you are on the line, it's a penalty, by the way, yeah? If you're on the line, it's a penalty. And you can't see it great from here, but the close-up, there's your contact. He's kicking the front of Saka's foot. We're zoomed in here. Bosh. Penalty. Second penalty of the game. So, referee was shocking. And yeah, he got booked for diving. I mean, Stevie Wonder can see this contact there. Do you know what I mean? Stevie Wonder can see the contact there, bro. So, I think what they tried to say, because I did watch the clip, though, so I'm not going to cap. I think they said that he initiated the contact, that he moved his right leg towards the defender, that the defender didn't move his leg towards Saka. So that's, I'm not just going to pretend that, because slow-mo and pictures make it look like a penalty. But this contact, it shouldn't have been a yellow card for diving. Even if you don't give the penalty, it's got to at least be, just not a foul. It's not a yellow. You didn't dive. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I am King saying he did dive. I think he did one of them, didn't he, where he moves his leg over to make contact. So he's initiated contact. But anyway, we moved. The first one, Gabriel Jesus, penalty, a potential red card. Forget about it. Ref was shocking. As I said, let's look at ourselves. When you're accountable, you don't have to blame other people. Score your chances, referee, don't matter. You don't score your chances, then we have to blame the ref. Do I think the referees have got an agenda against Arsenal? Definitely not. I don't buy into this. Oh, they hate Arsenal. Nah, I don't buy into that. Because when we were invincible, people probably thought, oh, Arsenal are cheats. They've got the refs in the pocket. Good teams don't blame the ref. You score your chances yesterday, we don't even talk about the ref. The ref was shocking, though. Let's not get away from that. So, anyway, let's move on. Let's move on, people. What I want to ask you, I'm going to get a poll up. First poll of the day. You know we love to get a poll up on here. Was it 2 points dropped or 1 point gained? That's my first question of the day. Was the draw against Southampton 2 points dropped or 1 point gained? Is what I want to ask you. Because some people were saying to me, oh yeah, but everyone's dropped points apart from City, so it's a point gained. So I want to know your opinions. 2 points dropped or 1 point gained? 2 points dropped or 1 point gained? For me, 2 points dropped. But I want to hear your opinions. Because I didn't think Southampton were great. And I think we should have beat them in the first half. Draw at Southampton, 2 points drop, 1 point gain. There you go, people. The poll is up. The poll is up. Let me know. We love the polls. More polls than an Atlanta strip club. Man said drop it like it's hot. Is the glass half full or half empty? Debate. Listen, overall, the glass is half full for Arsenal, right? We've made a great start to the season. Every Arsenal fan in the world would have taken this before a ball was kicked. It's just, if you're trying to compete with Manchester City, which I think because we are on top, our mindset now is, what are Man City doing? I'm going to my phone and going, how are City getting on? I haven't checked Man City scores for about 5 years. I don't even check, because what was it got to do with me? I let Liverpool check Man City's results. It's them two. I'm now checking Man City's results. And when you're chasing Man City, you can't draw games like that. That's like a defeat when you're chasing Man City. And I think that's why. I actually think it's a positive thing that we're going to Southampton and we're disappointed that we didn't win the game. I think that's a positive. It shows the progress. We're trying to chase Man City. So a draw at Southampton feels like a defeat. I think 2 years ago, we'd have dressed this up as, it's a good point at Southampton. So even though I'm having a bit of a moan, I think there's a positive message behind it in that we're leveling up. And that requires the standards to be pushed even higher. So I think there is a positive within that negative. Hey, big up Fran, who said, I think it is good, though, to get a draw. Last season, we either won or got nothing. This could be the 1 point difference between us and Spurs last season. I mean, they say turn defeats into draws, turn draws into victories. So this is a ground that we've dropped a lot of points at over the year. I don't know why. I had so much belief that we were going to beat Southampton. And the way that first half went, I just think we should have finished them off in the first half. I get it, we need to level up. None of our top five scored. I don't even bet on City no more. What's the point? The odds are ridiculous. Samuel said, nice thought pattern, Curtis. 1,000% agree. Big up to you, bro. Listen, it's nice when you agree. But if you don't, I still want to hear from you, We played the game backwards, started the game, flew out the blocks, didn't finish them off, and then slowed down. Is that to do with tired legs? Cruz did well yesterday. Scored a hat-trick yesterday, but his team lost, unfortunately. But, yeah, they lost 7-6, which was disappointing. Last-minute winner. But I always say to him, man, if your team don't win, what did you do in the game? If you've scored your goals, that's all you can take out of it. But yeah, we move. I appreciate everyone who asked. What's your opinion on Ronaldo constantly getting benched, getting enough and walking off last 2 minutes? He'll go in January. I don't think Ten Hag wanted him in the summer, and I think Ronaldo wanted to leave. I think Man United kept him because he's a commercial giant, and Manchester United run the club on a commercial basis. They would have said, let Ronaldo go. No one's going to pay a big fee for him, and he sells shirts through the roof. He sells more shirts than any other player at Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo. I think now they'll get rid of him in January. Big up my bro Akeem, Arteta killing man, playing all our main players in Europa when we don't need to. See, the problem is, this is where it's a little bit funny when you look at it like that. We've just beaten PSV 1-0, Bodo Glimt 1-0, and did we beat Bodo Glimt 1-0 in the previous game? I think we did. Oh no, Bodo Glimt 3-0 at home. No, Bodo Glimt 1-0 away. and PSV 1-0 at home with half of our first team playing. So because the bench is so weak, he probably can't change the whole team. We would probably actually lose to PSV if he didn't play our full team. So it's like a catch-22. Do I rest everyone and drop points? Or do I play half the team, win the game, but then we're fatigued at the weekend? Ultimately, that has to come back down to him, though. Why is the squad not bigger? Why is there not more strength in depth? You let Ainsley go. You let Pepe go. These are players that would have been good squad players this season. We sold Torreira. We didn't sign another midfielder. We didn't sign a winger to come in for Pepe. You get 2 or 3 more good players on that bench and we can rest Gabriel Jesus. We can rest Saliba. So I think ultimately it comes down to the recruitment being poor and we left ourselves short. Fitz said yesterday was another game where Arteta is still learning. How long do we put up with this as he's a slow learner? Fitz, and listen, I like Fitz's opinion. He's a straight talker. He don't mess about. Where I have to give some balance to Mikel Arteta, and listen, I've been a critic of him in the past. If Arteta wasn't the manager now, and we'd hired a new manager in the summer, a big experienced manager, and he had us top of the league right now, we'd be saying, that is unbelievable. He's brilliant. We knew it was right to get rid of Arteta. And look what the new manager has done. All managers make mistakes. Pep got it wrong last week at Anfield. He's one of the greatest managers of all time. So Arteta will make mistakes at times due to his inexperience. It's about him making less mistakes and not making big mistakes that cost us 3 points. So I think his substitutions were poor yesterday. I honestly do. I think he took the wrong people off at the wrong times. Odegaard looked like the creative spark. Martinelli looked lively. And I think he took the wrong players off for me. And the players coming on did nothing. Tierney was probably our most effective attacking sub who came on, rather than Eddie Nketiah and Fabio Vieira. One's on 100 grand a week, where's number 14, and the other costs 35 million, and yet they were totally ineffective. Abdullah said, good morning, Curtis. What do you think of us dropping a point? For me, I think if we continue to play this way without additional players, I'm afraid 100%. 100%. The good thing is that, and no disrespect to them, because they got a big win at the weekend, but we got Forest on Sunday. They're bottom of the league. Now, they'll make life difficult. They're confident because they just beat Liverpool, but I'm not being funny. At the Emirates, against Forest, we should be 3-point collecting and we should be scoring a few goals. It should be a good opportunity for us to, lift our spirits again. The problem is we need a draw against PSV to guarantee that we win the group. PSV away will be a tough game. Is he going to play a strong team? Personally, I would play a weak team against PSV, even if you risk getting beaten by them, because we only need to beat Zurich in the last game, and they are poor. They've lost every game, and I think we can beat them quite comfortably. So I actually would put a weaker team out for PSV, even at the risk of dropping points, because we need to be fresh for that Forest game on Sunday. PG is a good one. He said, I know Nketiah isn't doing great. Why do fans always have to bring up wages? The club is responsible for giving him the wages. Listen, it's become a part of football. And I agree with you in a way. I say sometimes as fans, why do we talk about money? How much did he cost? How much wages does he get? Blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, why did most fans who didn't rate Nicolas Pepe have a problem with him? They said he cost 72 million. And he doesn't look a £72 million player. If I say, listen, everyone, look at this. I've just bought this car for 50 grand. And I show you a 1997 Ford Escort with a wheel hanging off. You're going to go, you're not going to go, well, that's a bit of a classic, that. You're going to go, why'd you pay 50 grand for that? So ultimately, it's a sad part of football now, but it is a reality of football. Because giving Eddie 100 grand might stop you buying another player and giving him 150 grand. So it's unfortunate. If we'd paid 10 million for Pepe, we'd say, he looks all right. He looks like he's got a bit of potential. We can work with him if we can. When you've paid 72 million for him, I'm expecting you to rip this league apart. So it's an unfortunate part of the game now, but it's the reality, people. It's the reality. People go, oh, look at Maguire, 80 million, rubbish. Sancho, 70 million, hasn't done enough. 72 million for Pepe is a flop. It's the way it goes, people. It's the way it goes, You don't want to pay 50 grand for a Ford Escort from 97. You just don't. You want the money to reflect the value of the player and the quality of the player. Anyway, I've been moving like Arteta today. I've been waffling. I've been on here for an hour and 9 minutes already. And man said Eddie is the 97 Ford Escort with the wheel falling off. Dear. Haaland earns 900 grand a week, but City do not complain because he's doing his job. Exactly. No one cares. 900 grand? Yeah, but I've scored about 20 odd goals by October. You're worth every penny, mate. If he had 4 goals, you'd hear money talk about him. Edu bought the tea bag Vieira without buying the milk. Oh, my days. Anyway, let's move on, people. Let's move on. I've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. We haven't even got into press conference reaction yet. I'm the one waffling today. Happy Monday to everyone, though. I hope you're well. 2,000 of you in the chat. 49 of you on Twitch. C-Unit Business. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, people. Don't forget, member stream this Friday at 4 o'clock if you want to come on and give your opinions. Let's get into waffle settings. I've got a few stories to go over after that. It's going to be a long stream today, people. Mikel Arteta. Giving him a lot of credit this season. Well deserved. He's having a great season. I'm not going to really give him too difficult a time for yesterday. I do think the substitutions were wrong. I think if you've signed Marquinhos and you've brought Reece Nelson back from loan. Reece Nelson has been a winger. He's meant to have been a superstar in the under-23s. He went on loan to Feyenoord. You sign Marquinhos from Brazil, yet you take a winger off and put a striker out wide when you've got 2 wingers on the bench. Number one, that tells me that you don't rate the 2 wingers. And number 2, it tells me you're trying to force Eddie Nketiah into this team, even when the position is not there for him. Square pegs in round holes. That is a mistake, in my opinion. Second of all, Fabio Vieira. We've bigged him up when he's played well in the Europa League, said what a classy player he is. On the flip side of that, what has he done for Arsenal in his Premier League substitute appearances outside of the goal that he scored against Brentford that was fantastic? When you've paid 35 million for somebody, you want some sort of impact. I want him to come on and win us one of these games, create a chance that wins us a game. So I think Arteta got the wrong changes yesterday. I thought Martinelli and Odegaard were possibly the wrong people to bring off. I thought Odegaard actually looked like creating the chance. Gabriel Jesus, both his best chances came from Martin Odegaard. So I think he took the wrong player off yesterday. So I'm not going to hammer him, but I think he made some mistakes yesterday. Don't put square pegs in round holes. If you brought Nelson back from loan, then back him. If Marquinhos got signed by you, then back him. Play him. Don't put Eddie Nketiah out wide. Gunnarola said Curtis Jesus is 1 yellow away from suspension. What do we do for the next game? Bench him or risk a yellow? And he's suspended for Chelsea. Wow, is that the next game after that? I honestly didn't know that. So, wow, that is a great point. Yeah, listen, we got to play him. We can't worry about it. We said that a few weeks ago. I think we said if he gets booked against Tottenham, was it, that he misses Liverpool? And the week before that, he hasn't been booked in the last few games. So you've got to play him. Saliba the same, by the way, Gunnarola. He's on 4. So what do we do? Let me end the poll, people. 87% of you in the comments are saying that it is 2 points dropped. 13% say 1 point gained. And I tend to agree with you, people. And like you said there, Jesus and Saliba, both on 4 yellows. A yellow for them would suspend either one of them for Chelsea. And yeah, Chelsea at the bridge. You don't want to be turning up minus Saliba and Gabriel Jesus. And I'm sure Oba is going to be motivated to prove a point against us as well. Yeah, we did talk about the referee. We brought up pictures. We spoke about it. He was very poor. Jashar, big up Curtis. Don't forget Arteta did the same thing with Aubameyang, playing him off the wing because he wanted to fit Lacazette and Aubameyang in, so he put him out wide. Don't do the same with these two. Alan Jerry said, hey, Big C, I think the view of 1 point gained is away at Anfield, Etihad and the Bridge. Given Arsenal's form, that was a winnable game, and on a different day, the lads would have defo won. I agree. You go to Man City and your back's against the wall and you grind out a point, that's a point gained. A Southampton that were out of form, that were 1-0 down, and we was in control, you're supposed to leave with 3 points. Zinchenko might be back for Chelsea. What's the problem? Well, and this calf strain that's apparently nothing major seems to be becoming a problem. Let's go through Waffle settings anyway. Our 8-game winning run came to an end at St Mary's on Sunday. Southampton struck back to claim a point on the South Coast. On whether he has any complaints, he said, no complaints. This is football. We were really good in the first half and controlled the game totally. We created loads of big chances that we didn't put away in the Premier League, unfortunately. If you don't do that when you're on top of the game, you can have some difficulties. Totally agree. Totally agree. Finish your breakfast, man. If you're hungry, eat your breakfast. If not, you go, you're out, you're hungry. In the second half, we put ourselves in problems with the amount of giveaways that we had, especially with the ball possession. Didn't allow us to control the game the way we wanted. Their direct play and long throws and set pieces disrupted the game a lot. We tried to react. I still think in the second half, the 2 biggest chances were ours, but we didn't put them away. Listen, I like the fact he's not just blaming the ref because I've got a similar outlook. Referee was poor, but finish your chances is the main thing a manager will be looking at. On what he made of the penalty shouts, he said, I don't know. I don't want to comment on that. I want to see the images before I do that. Well, once he's seen them images, he will not be happy. On why our performance levels dropped off, he said, I think we stopped doing all the simple things right. The distances on the ball positions were too far. We gave too many simple balls away in dangerous areas without much pressure. It didn't allow us continuity like we had in the first half. Then you are more tired because the game becomes more open. There are more transitions. Let's just skip through this. It's Monday. It's been a long weekend. Last thing you need is an overload of waffle. On Gabriel Jesus, I'm sure that today we'll be disappointed because he had the chances to put them away. Knowing Gabby is disappointed when he scores 2 goals and could have had 3 or 4, so he can do that. But he's having the chances and he's always there. He gives so much to the team. It's a shame he couldn't put them away. I always say as a striker, the biggest worry is when you don't get chances. Missing chances is not as bad as not getting chances. If Gabby starts finishing these, it'll be flying. It's just we can't have him doing this on a regular basis. As I said, Gabriel Jesus, no goal in his last 5 games. For all the great form and the hype and the praise, he can't have too many runs of form like that where he hasn't scored for so long. Although, as I said, he hasn't started all of those 5. A couple of those are actually Europa League games. I agree. I think he is taking it well. I think he knows we threw that away more than anything. On squad depth, he said, we have the same that we had a month ago, 2 days ago, and the same as what we're going to have next week. I don't like to have any excuses. In the second half, we could have played much better. We could have won much more comfortably than we did. It's down to us. I think the team looked really fresh at the start. I put it more down to the way we played. We should have played better in the second half. He's taking accountability, and I do like that, but at the same time, you got better players coming off the bench. I still think you win that game. Jesus needs to work on his finishing, said Ridwan. Ish said, man, he's not waffling today. Maybe he's not peckish, man. Man said, no, I don't want no waffles, man. Every day I'm waffling. Man said, no, not today, man. Just going to have a salad and keep it moving. On 8 of our players starting in every Premier League game this season. He said that means they haven't played other games. I think at the start, the team looked really fresh. As for the second half and last few minutes, it's more the way we played. I put it there. We should have played better in the second half. On why we've historically struggled against Southampton on the road, he said it's very difficult to win in the Premier League at home and away. Simple, short and sweet today, people. Just a little snack. No big waffle. So we keep it moving. Well said, Tets. Yeah, I like the fact he didn't blame the ref. Although he said he hasn't seen the images. If you do this press conference maybe 45 minutes later, maybe he would have said something a lot different because those images don't do them any favours. Good point, Darren. Subliminal messages to the owners. What you do, you get the press to say, oh, your squad depth, and you go, I can't make an excuse. I've had the same squad for 4 weeks. I'll have the same squad in 4 weeks' time. Basically, you're saying I'm stuck with this squad unless the board are going to get me out of this position. So it's a good point there. You're leaning on the Kroenkes there. Spend some money in January, man. A little subliminal. Jay-Z, he always used to do subliminal diss tracks. He'd diss you. You don't even know you've been dissed. Where 50 would just say your name. I think Arteta's just dropping subliminals. Thomas, relax, man. I'm a Nottingham boy. I'm an Arsenal fan. I always say I want Forest to win most weeks, but when they play Arsenal, they got to hold smoke. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Forest are going to they'll get beat on the weekend. Forest will not be good enough to beat Arsenal. Arteta shows too much faith in players. It's a blessing as it gets them to perform for you. More importantly, it's a curse as you don't want to upgrade on them, thus putting the team... And that's a good point. You show so much faith in a player sometime and you love him, you won't drop him. You won't sign an upgrade on him because you have such a personal connection to him, which we've seen with Granit Xhaka. Many times I think he could have replaced Xhaka, but because he likes him so much on a personal level, he's like, nah, man, keep him. Give him another year. He's great in the dressing room. He's basically one of the captains. So, yeah, that can be a gift and a curse, man. Akeem, big up, bro. He said, might need 3 players in Jan. I think ideal world, I would want 4 signings in January. We're just not going to spend the money. Realistically, we need 2. We need to get out of that window with 2. Centre mid and an attacking player. Maybe a winger that can play central as well. If we get 2, I'd be surprised though. Just because, you know, last January we could have got 4th and we didn't sign anybody when we desperately needed an Aubameyang replacement. Xhaka was injured. El Neni and Partey were at AFCON. We were desperate for a midfielder. We were playing Patino and Sambi against Forest in the FA Cup, getting beat up. So, Ridwan said, the only positive on Sunday was the Spuds losing. I have to admit, I came away from that Arsenal game, I was like, fuming. 2 points dropped. So disappointed with that result. I watched the Tottenham game. By the end of the Tottenham game, I was like, not so bad after all, eh? You know, I wear the lads, man. You know what I mean? I was like Santiago. What's his name? Santiago Nunes. Is it Nunes? Muniz. What's his name? Goal. You know the guy in the Goal movie. You know, I was a prime Newcastle fan by the end of that game. I had a Faustino Asprilla top on. You know, an Alan Shearer wig. Kevin Keegan. I would love it if we beat them. Love it. You know, we were prime Geordies by the end of that game. I was like, okay, you know what? The point at Southampton ain't so bad after all, you know. We keep it moving. So big up Newcastle, man. I appreciate it. You lifted all of our moods yesterday. Beautiful scenes that was as they slapped up Tottenham. Would you take Iwobi right now, man? He's cooking most assists this season, only behind KDB. I think he's in the right environment for himself. I was never the biggest Iwobi fan. I'm going to keep it 100. I thought it was daylight robbery when we got 35 million out of Everton for him. But I respect what he's doing at the moment. He's on form for them. But I do think he suits what they've got over there at the moment. I'm not sure he'd be producing that at Arsenal. So I'm happy to leave him there. I can't lie. Up the tune, man. Up the tune. Yeah, you can always rely on the Spuds to lift the mood, man. You can always rely on them. Yeah, they definitely lifted the spirits, man. Big up Gunnar Graham, 63. Thank you very much for becoming a member, bro. Really appreciate it. As I keep saying, and I've said again, member stream, 4 o'clock Friday. Get yourself in. Obviously, we'll have already played the game against PSV the night before, and we'll be looking ahead to the Forest game at the weekend. So, yeah, man. He's from Los Angeles. Never seen cold weather. Nunes, Santiago. Come on, man. What a film, by the way. What a film. Goal. You know what? Has Cruz watched that before? I think he has watched it. Santiago Nunes. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on, people. Toon looking for top 4. I think they're in the top 4, right? Big up Newcastle, man. They're doing their thing. Right, I got a few stories before we get out of here, people. So, let's start with the first one. And the first one is regarding one of our loan players. And that is man like Balogun. He can't stop scoring. Balogun. 7 goals in 12 games in the French league. This boy is absolutely thriving. Absolutely brilliant. He didn't even do that well last season in the Championship at Middlesbrough. He scored 7 goals already in the French league. Now, I mean, you're looking at this saying, I mean, Ish, you're saying it. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's French league tax. Maybe, is he better than Eddie? I don't know. We probably won't know until he gets back to the Prem, but I honestly, and I know it's easy for me to say this now, I watched this guy a few times in pre-season for Arsenal. He scored a hat-trick once. I think he's got it on his Twitter. And honestly, it was one of the best hat tricks I'd seen like for a long time. And I said, he's got some crazy talent. Now, I'm not saying he should be at Arsenal right now. I think he probably needed this loan. First team football experience, playing against PSG, Marseille, Lyon. He'll learn so much. But what I'm saying is next season, I think he could be in a prime position to really come back to us and say, right, I'm ready now. I've had 6 months in the Championship, learnt about men's football. I've gone to the French League for a year, learnt more, scored goals. Now I'm back. Ish, you make a great point. And I've always said this about Eddie, and I know some people think I'm too hard on Eddie, and I'm some some of our fan base. You criticize a player, they say you've got an agenda. I look at it and I say, how can you invest? Because that's what it is when you give a player a big new contract. How can you give Eddie Nketiah £100,000 a week for 5 years when he's never had a full season performing consistently at any level? He went on loan to Leeds when they were in the Championship. They ended the loan spell after 6 months. He wasn't a major success. I've had KG, Leeds fan on here before. He said he was a live wire, but nothing special. He's been at Arsenal last season, wasn't starting. Aubameyang started, Lacazette started. He finished the season well. Fair play to him, got a few goals. There wasn't enough evidence there to say, give this guy £5 million a season and give it him for 5 years and give him number 14. I feel like Eddie should have been like, okay, you've still got to prove it. They gave him a deal as if he'd proved his point, where I think he's still got a point to prove, in my opinion. But listen, it is what it is. The contract signed, we can't get away from it. But listen, big up to Balogun. I love what he's doing in Ligue 1, and he's bagging goals, and it's a great experience for him. And listen, let's hope he comes back a better player, can maybe save us some money and come back ready for the Premier League. Who knows? But we'll see. We will see, people. But big him up, and let's hope he does really well. It'd be great if he could get 15 to 20 goals over there. Let's talk about another transfer story. And without me saying anything, I don't need to say anything about this story. The picture will tell you everything. The picture will tell you everything. For those of you maybe listening in and not looking at the screen right now, Wilfried Zaha FC are the wheels in motion. There is a story today in the Daily Mail saying that he is an Arsenal target. Again, I don't know if they're clutching at straws, or I don't know if there's any genuine, link to him or not. Now, the man saying Zaha's loyal. Listen, you know me, people. Get Wilf to the carpet. The story is saying that Arsenal want Zaha. The question is whether they will go for him in January and pay money for him, or do they wait until the summer and get him on a free? I mean, I know a lot of you in the comments, and I am going to be the lawyer here for the next 35 seconds. I know a lot of you in the comments were going, not sure about Zaha, maybe it's too late. Would you take him on a free, though, in the summer? Free agent. 2-year deal, 3-year deal. Clement said, I'm definite. Do you know what it is, Clem? I'll tell you the reasons why. Let me tell you the reasons why. Let me explain myself here. Yeah, I'm getting another poll up. I'm not accepting it. I've just got to rephrase the question so that I can, convince you all. Would you see what I was asking you the other day? Would you sign Zaha in January for 40 million? But what I'll say now, would you sign Zaha on a free in the summer? And I think a lot of you will say yes. So I'm winning my case here. Would you sign Zaha on a free in the summer? There you go. It's up. I ain't going down without a fight, people. When I represent you, I represent you. Now, let me tell you the reasons why I would sign Zaha, just to give this context. Number one. If he's on a free, realistically, if he came to Arsenal, he can play right wing, he can play left wing, he can play through the middle. It gives us options in multiple positions, right? Second of all, he's an Arsenal fan. And let's be honest, we should have signed him when we signed Pepe. We only didn't sign him because we couldn't get him on a Klarna deal, layaway. They wanted the dough up front. We got Pepe on some buy now, pay later business. How many times has Zaha ripped Arsenal apart? We've been on the receiving end of it time and time again. This season, actually, not though. But last season, he always rips us apart. You need players that can get on the ball, and they're so dangerous that they draw two players to you. And he does that. He does that on a regular basis. And Kunku, I think he's going Chelsea. Haven't they already agreed the deal? I think they've already agreed a fee for him. Listen, for me, on a free transfer, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you've got Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka, Zaha, you've got 4 great options there in the wing. You could pick any 2 of them. I'd be happy with them. Any of them. At the moment, Smith Rowe's injured. You've only got Martinelli and Saka, and he's a free. You can then put the money that you would spend on a winger into getting somebody else. But listen, I'm all ears. I want to listen to your opinions. And he's having one of his best seasons. He got 14 goals last year. He scored more than Saka and Martinelli. So I just don't see how we're in a position to say no to this. But let's hear what you got to say. Fatality DMB. Trossard over Zaha all day, or even the Ukrainian winger Mudryk. Mudryk, they want 50 million euros. Is he good enough to pay 50 million euros? I haven't seen enough of him. I do like Trossard. Trossard would be great, but we'll go to Chelsea, said Roshan. A said wages and game time ahead of other players by then. In that same report, Paul Merson is actually saying he would like Zaha, but he's worried that would Zaha be prepared to not necessarily start every week? Could he be the support cast at Arsenal? I think he's somebody that wants to start every week. Chris said Zaha is the real deal. He will be fire at Arsenal. He is better than Jesus. I mean, Chris, I was completely with you in that until the last 5 words. Then I started to, I had to cover my head. I was like, yeah. Ooh, what's he saying? Damn. He's not a better striker than Jesus. He's a better winger than Jesus. Jesus a better striker. So I think the comparison is a bit off, but yeah, I agree with the first part, definitely. I would love to sign Zaha and Ivan Toney. Power, pace, aggression. You think that brother Lianco's doing that to these men? These men will square up to him, grab him round the throat, bruv. You ain't doing that. Man said 3 minutes time out for it. Chris, have a little think. It was all going so well. Can Coney handle Zaha? Now, I'm not sure Mikel Coney, Arteta can handle him, man. He's a bit of a live wire, Zaha. Do you know what it is? I'd go to Wilf. I'd say, listen, Wilf, you're 30 years of age. You went to Man United. You were too young. Fergie left. It was the wrong move. You're 30 now. Palace, you ain't going to achieve nothing major. They're not winning trophies. You need to stop being the big fish in the small pond. Come to Arsenal, but there's no guarantees you play every week. This is what big clubs are about. We give you a good contract. You're on a free, and you back yourself that you can get Saka or Martinelli out of the team, and then you go to war with those guys. You're at war together, but you're against them as well in trying to get in the team. And, maybe you push somebody then to go to the next level. SG said James Maddison and Ivan Toney. I like Maddison. I do like Maddison. But listen, let me get off this before everyone starts coming for me in the comments. You're Wilfried Zaha's lawyer. Shen Sketchers, Weekly Wilf. I will send you that as well to send the t-shirt. If you don't, follow her on Twitter. She does some fantastic paintings and drawings, and also does some good Arsenal merch. And she's offered to send a t-shirt on the channel. I'll show you guys it. And then obviously if you like it, you can go over and check out her store and the things that she does. So big up to you. Imagine taking off Martinelli after 65 and bringing on Zaha. This is what I'm saying, people. Yesterday we took off Martinelli, brought on Eddie on the left wing, blood. I'm telling you, you can't do that. You're taking off Martinelli and bringing on Zaha. You're still ripping these men apart. Super chat, Palace settings. He's just too good for you. Yeah, he is, man. He is. I'm sorry, Palace, man. You got to let him go and thrive elsewhere now, man. Apologies, Jay. I missed your super chat. Yeah, man. They got to let him go now. Free him, man. Man's going to do his testimonial at Palace with no trophy in the cabinet. Anyway, let me move. I'll end the poll. And I think I've worded it perfectly because I've reeled you in like a fish on a rod, people. I've got you in. I've flung the rod out there. I've wheeled you all in. 85% of you would take Wilfried Zaha on a free. My work here is done, people. I think it was like 54% when I said 40 million in January. But you don't want to spend no money. Inflation is real. And on a free, 85% of you would take him. Wilf, I expect the check in the post. I have just got you the move to Arsenal. If I could right now, I would play Zaha to Arsenal YouTube highlights. But I don't want to risk the copyright strike. So we move, people. My work here is done. Anyway, before we get out of here, one more little bit. It's been a great stream, by the way. Really enjoyed it. As usual, great to be back with the community. And as I said, we'll be back on every day this week. And obviously back on the streams after 2 watch-alongs away. Make sure you like the video. I wanted to just look at what I was referring to earlier. Was about Arsenal and their seeming lack of goals at the moment. You know, we seem to have dried up a little bit in the last few games. Is it down to fatigue? Are we tiring towards the end of games? Is it the lack of squad depth and the fact that we're having to play some of these players too much? Like, you know, you look at a player like Thomas Partey, who is an injury-prone player, and you think, we took him to Bodo Glimt, right? 2 flights to Norway to play in the cold on a plastic pitch. He came on for 7 minutes. What was the point of Thomas Partey travelling over there? You know, and then he had to come on in the week because Sambi wasn't playing well. And then you play him at the weekend. Are we starting to look a little bit fatigued? Is it the Thursday, Sunday thing starting to kick in a little bit with Arsenal? Smirky said, amazing stream. Abby said, green screen, back to history settings. Got to be done, man. Got to be done every now and then. Tielemans, Mitrovic and Zaha would be incredible. I would love to get those 3 in. Mitrovic, I think, would be a fantastic plan B. He's got 10 goals in the Prem already. Christian said we look jaded. Roll said everyone is relying on Jesus to score and they aren't chipping in. Partey wanted to see the Northern Lights. Trait said Nketiah should have the number 100 shirt. Nimbo said must be fatigue. Arteta didn't manage the squad well. Lack of options. Could be both. Could be both. Now, just looking ahead. I mean, like I said, since beating Liverpool 3-2, 1-0 Bodo Glimt, 1-0 Leeds, 1-0 PSV, 1-1 Southampton. Those 1-0s were always going to catch up with us eventually. You can't always rely on, we'll hang on to a 1-0 and defend. We saw against Leeds last week, the warning signs were there. You know, penalty missed, red card and penalty disallowed, chances missed, goal disallowed. It was coming. Stuart said, got to be thankful that Man City game was postponed. I think I agree. I was saying at the time, I wish we were playing them. I think it's a good job we're not. Just looking ahead to our next few fixtures. Obviously, a few games until the World Cup. We need to make sure we manage these games in the right way. Now, as I said, PSV away is an interesting one because if we draw with PSV, we've won the group. But if we don't beat PSV, we play Zurich at home last game, which is light work. And is Arteta going to play a strong squad again? Try and get the point so that the group is won and then play the weaker team against Zurich at home, which I think he probably will. The only reason I think he will, when I look at this, is because after Zurich, we play Chelsea. I think he will think I can play half my team at PSV, get the draw or the win, groups won, beat Forest even if we're a bit tired, rest everyone against Zurich next Thursday, then we go to Stamford Bridge next Sunday. So I think that is probably the better way to do it, if I'm being totally honest. I think he wants to make sure the group's won. We've already qualified, but winning the group obviously means we avoid the Champions League dropouts. And you actually play a round less. If you finish second, you go into the last 32. If you finish first, you go into the last 16. Med said we need a reset and a draw is a good start, then a loss. A draw is a good start, then a loss. Heads up. We need a reset and a draw is a good start. Yeah, I think what you're saying, yeah, we need to reset now we've got the draw. At least it wasn't a loss. Alfred said I'm taking Odegaard out, putting Saka in the 10, Martinelli on the right with Zaha on the left. Front 4 real hitters. I mean, he loves Odegaard. You know, he loves him in that 10 role. Like I said, a lot of the big teams don't play with 10s anymore. But yeah, he loves Odegaard. I actually thought Odegaard did all right yesterday. He was our most creative player. But big up Alfred. Leave Partey and Jesus at home. Yeah, definitely Partey. You've got to rest some of them. Stop taking your full squad. Some of them can just chill, have a couple of days off. Shaib said the manager is tactically naive. Don't know how to make changes to progress forward. Niima said Odegaard can't shoot. I don't think Chelsea's playing well. Chelsea the other day, I didn't watch the full game against Man United. 1-1. I think they're beatable. We've beaten Chelsea in our last 2 trips to Stamford Bridge, so we should be going there and attacking them, you know. Before we get out of here, it's only right that I look at the Premier League table because, you know, I'm going to make the most of this Premier League table while we're top. And enjoy it, especially if we keep dropping stupid points like that. But we are top. Listen, I thought the draw was terrible. But in the end, Liverpool lost to Forest, United and Chelsea drew, Tottenham lost, Man City were the only team out of the so-called Big Six to have got 3 points. Arsenal, just a shame. A win would have kept us 30 points, 4 points clear. We're still 2 points ahead of City. 5 points clear of Tottenham with a game in hand. 7 points clear of Newcastle, game in hand. 7 clear of Chelsea, same games. 8 clear of United. 10 clear of Fulham, game in hand. And 12 clear of Liverpool, same games. Bearing in mind that we play Forest this weekend, bottom of the league, you would like to think we will win. And be in a strong position heading into next Monday. Now, I just want to check. Who are the other teams playing this weekend? Still top, man, Elliot. We're still top. Who are the other teams playing this weekend? Just so I can get an idea of whether the other teams are going to drop points. And they've got Champions League midweek. Man City go to Leicester. I mean, Leicester have been struggling, although they have won their last couple games. Tottenham go to Bournemouth away. Bournemouth doing okay. They're not great, though. Liverpool play Leeds at Anfield. I think they'll win that. Chelsea go to Brighton. That could be a tricky one at Brighton. We play Forest. Man United play West Ham at home. So maybe 1 or 2 of them will drop points. But we definitely have to beat Forest at the weekend. And listen, it's great. We're still top. We just can't slip up too many times. But 9 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Listen, I still got to be happy with the position we're in. Maka808 said, nah, Big C, Mikel will go strong versus PSV to wrap up top of the Europa League group. Play the kids versus Zurich. We play Chelsea the following Sunday. I totally agree. David Agard said, what a quality channel this is. In my opinion, Arsenal need to change owners to become successful on the pitch. If not, this will be very painful time to come for Arsenal fans because of the Kroenkes. We will see in January what they're about. We're in a fantastic position, a position that, let's be honest, no Arsenal fan expected Arsenal to be top of the league at this stage in the season. You know, we're 11 games in. If I'd have said, where do you think Arsenal will be after 11 games? Most people would have said 3rd, 4th, maybe somewhere like that. We're going to see how ambitious they are. Do they really want to win trophies? Do they want to challenge Manchester City? Do they want us to really go for it? Or will they go, you know what, Mikel? We're top of the league. You're working a miracle with the squad you've got. Smith Rowe, Zinchenko, El Neni to come back from injury. Keep it moving. On you go, Mikel. You don't need no money in January. We'll give you money in the summer. Keep it moving. Or will they go, you know what, Mikel? You're ahead of schedule, and we think we've got half a chance this season of achieving something big. Go and get the centre midfielder, 30, 40 million. Go and get the winger, 30, 40, 50 million. 80 million, and get your 2 players in, and let's see what you're capable of. Even if you don't win the league, you come second, you come third. Maybe you win the Europa League, win the FA Cup as well. And it's been a fantastic season. We'll see what the Kroenkes are really about. Phil McKay, thank you very much for becoming a member, bro. Really appreciate it. Member stream 4 p.m. Friday. Get involved. Don't miss out. Come and give your opinions. Med said the dream is to go to the World Cup top or a point behind City. I want us to go to that World Cup top of the league. Smith Rowe, a one-season wonder like Willock. The injuries are a concern, and their muscular injury problems as well, which is it to do with the fact his body is still growing, hasn't developed yet, or is there a genuine injury problem there? We could definitely do with Smith Rowe. Tony, Zaha, Maddison must be asleep. But, well, they would be great signings, of course, but are we going to lay that kind of dough down in one window? Don said Curtis is the new Arteta's lawyer. Listen, Kevin Campbell has signed a lifetime contract for that. I'm not sure we can get anywhere near that. Clement said we need to play better against PSV on Thursday night in Holland. Arteta will go strong on Thursday, play the fringe players on Sunday. I mean, I don't think you can get away with playing the fringe players in the Prem. I think he will play half of our first team with half of the fringe players. So your Holdings and your Turners and your Lakongas and your Vieiras will come in. And then I think he'll have to go full strength against Forest. Because, you know, Liverpool have just been stung by them. So I don't think we can get away. I think he'll go weak next week against Zurich because of Chelsea the following Sunday. But I appreciate your comment. E. Ross said, it's the lawyers, Curtis. It is the lawyers, Curtis. And you know what? When I come off stream, I'm going to message Kev and try and get him on. And try and get him on this week. I haven't had him on for a while. Kevin started a YouTube channel. Just saw that recently. I haven't heard about it. I knew he had one before. Well, he wasn't putting out content, so maybe he's got going on that again. But big up, Kev. Big up to everyone in the chat. It's been a fantastic stream today. Really appreciate it. We've been on for just under an hour and 45 minutes. Fantastic stream. As I said, apologies I haven't done the last two watch-alongs. You know, I've been like a football taxi for Cruz the last few days. But, yeah, we're back now. And obviously, we'll do the watch-along on Thursday, watch-along on Sunday. Really appreciate it. And, yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow, people. Hopefully, we'll have more to talk about. Thank you very much for tuning in. Brilliant interaction, as always. Like the video, subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.